Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling. Shall we see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today? We'll be relaxing as per usual. It's the start of the long weekend here in the UK, as it's the Easter holidays. We've Good Friday tomorrow. What does that mean? I don't know. To be honest, hold on. Let me mute myself because I can hear static in my microphone. Hello? Oh, I'm muting Discord. There you go, static's gone. I was just like, something is going on. Good evening, everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 10:11 p.m. on Thursday, April 17th, 2025. Yeah, it's a long weekend at the moment. Just started. Which means that basically everything's ended on today. So there's no Friday, there's no Monday. Regards to most people's works, not everyone's works, of course. And the schools are already out. They were probably out last week, I believe. So last week, this week, or the Easter holidays, a 2-week. Maybe wait, hold on, it might even be longer. I don't really remember, to be honest. Anyway, yeah. So what are we going to talk about today? I'm not really sure, to be honest. What should we talk about? I mean, not really much has happened, I suppose, since yesterday. So there's not really much to talk about there. I guess we just had to sort of find our own avenue of conversation. Apparently, I didn't even make it down. Yeah, it was a Mario Kart World Direct. Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that. How's that gone along? I don't know. I remember people were like not hyped about it, or were they hyped about it? I don't know. But yeah, what can we talk about? We can go to Neopets. Let's start doing our dailies as we think about. I think this is a sort of anecdotal story angle. I don't know why the first thing that came to mind is balloon animals. I actually, I don't have many stories when it comes to balloon animals, mind you. The one story I do remember is, of course, when you're younger, or when at least I was younger, I often went to friends' birthday parties in primary schools who would hire like someone to come along to entertain the kids, like some, I don't know, a magician or something, and there would always be a time where you sort of sit down and watch a magician show, and honestly it was always a blast, to be honest. Except for, you can imagine me as the child, you know, who very much is like, you know, I want to see how you, I've got to choose my allegiance on Battle of the Obelisk, how you do your tricks. I want to see through it. I remember one of them was so silly. I think I spoke about this before, but it was essentially that he had like these red rabbits and yellow rabbits which you flip around 180 degrees, and it would reveal the other one, but obviously he didn't just like do that just like that. He was always like, look over there, like literally like a cartoon. He was like, he points in a direction, but he's like, whoa, what's that? And then obviously us kids with like the tiny attention span we have would turn around, and then we'd look back and it's like, whoa, suddenly the rabbit's a different color. But I remember one time like he did it twice or something, once or twice, and I guess I fell for it both those times. But then one of the times I was like, hold on, what's going on? Something's strange here. This doesn't make sense. So I continued staring instead of actually like turning around to see what on earth was going on. And then I saw him spin around the rabbit really quickly. And I remember pointing out, being like, hey, I just saw you do that. You just turned it around. And then he was like, wait a minute, what's that? And then it got me again. I turned around. All I remember is the birthday girl's like younger brother was just sitting there like on his mother's lap or something. I don't remember. We were just like, oh, what's he doing? And I was like, darn, he got me this time, but I can't prove it this time that he just turned it around. Because I remember being very, I suppose, smug about it, being like, you know, I've caught you in your act. You're not actually doing magic whatsoever. I knew you weren't, but now I've got empirical proof. So yeah, if that's any indication of who I was, I suppose, as a child, I think that's probably the definitely I think one of the more revealing things. But there have been a lot of fun times. I remember one of my friend's birthday parties, he had like, I don't know if he was a magician necessarily, but he came in and he brought in like some unusual animals, I suppose, that you wouldn't usually see as a child. And the one I remember was like a bearded lizard or some kind, and it was like they like to lie on rocks or something to heat up, as a lot of lizards do, I suppose, by the nature of being cold-blooded, I think. And then I remember he put them on the birthday boy's like head. I think he actually, like, we all could all have a turn of it being put on our head, and I just remember like the sort of the throat sac like inflating, and it was very spiky, and it's sort of just like puncturing into your head. I don't know why necessarily I remember that so well, but I have, so there you go. Some things just kind of stick in your memory, you know, that being one of them. But yeah, what else? What other sort of like magician things? Oh yeah, I forgot the initial thing I was going to talk about. I'm not sure if it was a magician. I also remember it being in the primary school, but that might have just been like the birthday party was held at the primary school because it was a good open space, or it might have been the school disco. I can't remember. It was like a DJ who could also like make balloon animals, and he kept making like balloon dogs for everyone. And me, being the child who constantly testing the boundaries of and pushing the boundaries and asking questions, was like, I don't think I want a dog. It looks like everyone has a dog. I want to see if I can get a different animal. So I was like, can you make a different animal? And then I can't remember what he said. He probably said like no or something. And I was like, what about a giraffe? Or like, what about a cat? I can't remember what animal I asked for. I think he said he could initially make some different animals, but I think that was it. Like, he made a giraffe, which was a dog with a long neck, and he made like a cat, which was basically a dog with slightly different ears or something. I mean, I think I must have requested some really random animal, like a whale or something. I don't know, something very much in keeping with me. And obviously, this magician, like, is not paid by the hour to make the fanciest balloon animals possible. Did not know how to make whatever animal I was saying. So then I remember he very sneakily managed to realize that like all I wanted was something particularly different and unique. And I remember he made me 2 balloon dogs which were tied together at the tail, and was like, look, there's like Siamese twin dogs or something. And I was like, whoa, that's so cool. Well, actually, to be fair, I was like, whoa, that's so cool, but I also was internally like, that's not what I asked for. Come on. It's only I suppose a while later I was like, oh yeah, he probably couldn't actually make whatever I asked for, and I don't know why I was being such a like an petulant child asking for it. Because it's not, I'd imagine when you're like in that sort of situation when you work with children, it's not the troublemakers that you nearly have such a deal trouble with it, grief with. It's always like the smart aleck children like me, who are just like, who aren't like being mean for the purposes of being mean. They're just putting the boundaries, and it's like, okay, the only way I can answer this is with like an adult conversation, being like, look, I can't do that. What other like magicians, whatever, I don't know, I just felt like it was super common for it to happen, but I can't really remember many sort of stories from it. I'm sure we all had a great time though, so credit where credit is due to those birthday party magicians and whatnot. I'm just trying to think back to children's birthday parties that I had as when I was in primary school, to try and really sort of remember. I remember one of my friends had like a Halloween party or something, like a witch or wizard themed one, I can't remember. And I remember the only thing I remember is the mum went all out, by the way, with the decorations, but the mum made like a caustic witch's brew or something, which was like this slimy thing which you stick your hand in and you sort of see what you can grab and pull out. I think it just had like 20p coins or something in there, nothing crazy. But it had like a fake eyeball. It was really slimy. I don't know what it was made out of. I'm gonna guess some sort of weird gelatin mix is my guess. I remember not liking it, and I remember coming towards the end of a party being like, oh, I haven't actually stuck my hand in yet to get anything. And she was like, oh, come on then, dear darling, go on for it. Stick your hand and see what you get. What I get, I'm pretty sure I got like 20p or something, so nothing crazy, but money for some reason is worth its weight in gold compared to sweetened candies. Well, I don't know, actually. I feel like most commonly for kids, it'd be like, whoa, sweets, that's the best thing. 20p, what am I going to do with 20p? But me, I was like, yes, 20p. Not that it makes much of a difference now, but still. What else? I don't know. I felt like it was surprisingly common that we ended up having like themed birthday parties where everyone had to come in costume. I remember one of my friends, she had like a pirate themed birthday party or something. Like we all had to come in like pirate costumes, except for obviously I did not have a pirate costume. But you know, luckily their parents thought ahead or whatever, and like when you got there, if you didn't have a pirate costume or whatever, they would just like give you like an eye patch and like a hat or whatever to help dress up for it, I think. I think it happened at least. That might not be the case. I might have just made that up entirely, in which case, what do I know? But yeah, I don't know. You might be like, have you ever tried to learn how to make a balloon dog or a balloon animal? I think so. Like, I feel like conceptually I know how to do it, but practically I don't really. Which is, I would argue, probably the more important part of making a balloon animal, but what do I know? The only thing I remember about it distinctly is the fact that you can make a poodle by changing the shape of its tail or something. Twin balloon dogs. So I'm doing the thumbnail at the same time. Yeah. I don't know how difficult it is to make other sort of balloon animal things. I feel like flowers and hats were always very common. Hats are not too difficult, from what I recall. Like, for some reason I had like a team building sort of activity where we were basically doing balloon animals at one point. And we had to make like balloon hats. I don't really remember how you do it, except for you need like multiple pieces to be able to weave together to actually do it in the end. Maybe like 2 different pieces. I honestly can't recall, so don't quiz me about it. But yeah, like what else do we have? Like sort of magicians doing things. I know that's like such a vague, ambiguous statement, but it doesn't really give much. But I don't know. I feel like it must be quite tiring to do that sort of thing. I remember one time we had like a science club or something after school, and I distinctly remember the person who was running it had a hearing aid, and I remember some kids asking about it and being like, "What's that in your ear?" And then I can't remember. He made, sorry, turned away from my microphone. He made like a joke or something, and then I was like, "Oh, my cousin's got one of those. It's a hearing aid." I don't remember what his reaction was to that. But that's all I distinctly remember. Anyway, he was kind of like a science magician, if you would consider that a thing. Yeah, what else? I don't know. I feel like there must be more things which come to mind with like children's birthday parties, magicians and that sort of things, but I don't know. There's like probably like a certain repertoire. How do you even find these people? Actually, now I think about it. Certainly back in the days before internet was that much more prolific for advertising and stuff. You just like, a friend knows a friend who just like does like magic and is like, hey, do you want to come to my kid's birthday party to do it? One thing though, I will say, never have I ever seen like a clown at a kid's birthday party. Clown's not exactly the most popular source of entertainment, I would say. Magicians, though, for some reason get a free pass, I suppose, because I don't know. I guess they're like they're very different flavors. You know, magicians are kind of like sort of like they have like this. I was gonna say mantra. Mantra's not the right word, but this air of elegance about them, while clowns are much more slapstick. And I know you might be like, oh, because like people find clowns scary. I don't know. I wonder how true that necessarily is, that like kids or people in general find clowns scary. Because I'll be honest, I never really found clowns scary. I mean, scary clowns, I guess, are kind of scary. I mean, scarier than the average person, for sure. But like, they're designed to be scary. Like clowns just by themselves, I find them pretty just normal, to be honest. But maybe my tune would change if I actually met one in real life, you know. I feel like clown is not a profession many people really get into. You know, I've known like one magician in my life. I don't think I know any clowns. Like anyone whose profession is a clown. I mean, obviously there's an opportunity there to do a sick burn on someone, but I'm not going to. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, what's happening to the school of clowns? Are we just not as many applicants year on year? I'd say it's a bit of a shame, but it's not something I have much nostalgia for. I feel like the only time I've really seen clowns is legitimately in the circus. Like, for once or twice I actually went to a circus rather than something I had from like childhood entertainment eras, you know? I don't know if that's a good or bad thing necessarily, but I don't know. I will say though, if there was a clown, probably a clown would have been absolutely fantastic at making I'm trying to think how to describe it. Making different balloon animals, much more interesting balloon animals than the one I got. Not to say that my twin balloon dogs were not cool, but you know, so just on a whole nother level. I don't know. Let's see. Deer balloon animal. I feel like everything follows a very similar template to the dogs. I don't know. This deer one's pretty crazy. There's no simple one. Let's see. Balloon animal. Because I feel like if you want simple one, you get like snakes or whatever. Unicorn. Okay, that one's kind of cool. Rabbit. That's an interesting one. That looks at least kind of different. Monkey. That looks really different. Swan. I would have loved a swan. See how many dogs there are. I think there's something very satisfying about the sort of the twisting sound as well of making a balloon animal. There's something about very deeply satisfying noise that comes with it. Swans, they seem like a pretty cool one. I don't know how you make that sort of crooked balloon shape. That's something you just do. Oh, swords! Swords were so common. Oh man, as soon as someone found out that one of the party magicians could do a sword, there's no end to it. Everyone asks for a sword, and then they, you know, you had sword fights over balloons. Like, what else is there to say? So yeah, I don't really know what else I was going to say about that, except for the fact that balloon animals are pretty cool. I don't have anything against balloon animals. I don't know why I would, to be honest, but it's just the sort of thing where it's like, oh, you know, I just think back to that memory of me putting that magician on the spot, being like, give me something different, which is not a balloon dog. And then he's like, what about 2 balloon dogs? And I'm like, whoa, you're off a hook this time, buddy. Barely. That I just find as a very amusing thing. Anyway, I'm kind of like around this conversation dry. I've nothing else to talk about, I'm sorry to say. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope to see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now.